Hello, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Siobhan from Business GT, and today's tutorial is going to be showing you how to use the business planning feature of Business GT. Now, in this tutorial, what I'm going to do is show you how to create a project plan template, how to create a relationship plan template, how to then add those to your overall business plan, and then how to allocate lines of your business plan to a specific client. Some of those things might not be clear right now, but I'll explain as I'm going along and show you how I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to make my way to the planning section. So I'm going to use the app menu in the top right of the screen. And the planning icon is here. This is a Gantt chart icon. I'm just going to click there. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go to Plan Templates. And I'm going to create a project plan. Now, a project plan is what we'd recommend is having a project plan template for each of the main products or services that your business offers. In this tutorial, I'm going to be acting as a marketing agency. So I'm going to set up a project template for them. You can see I've set one up earlier, but we'll go through setting one up from scratch. So I'm going to click Add New. And as a marketing agency, I'm going to create a template just for a simple bit of design. So it'll just be a A4 flyer. So I'm going to name the template, so I'll call that A4 flyer design. The plan type is a project, so that's correct. The description, so I can add a bit more detail here. So I'm going to say design and delivery of simple A4 flyer. The potential value, so for example, we might charge £5,000, obviously depending on the quantity of those flyers. So you can see here we set this template up in stages. So these are stages of work to be completed during this project. So the funnel that I want to work with is projects. Now, for an explanation of how the funnels and statuses work, if you watch the Get Started tutorial that I've done, that should make things a bit clearer. But in here, I'm going to select projects because this is a project plan template. So for stage 1 of this piece of work, we get a brief, and that happens on month 1, day 1. So I'm going to select the team and user who will actually be completing that work. So at the moment, I'm a single user system, so I'm just working on my own at the moment. So I'm in the default team, and I'm going to be receiving the brief from the client. Now I'm going to input the sales at this stage of the plan. So I'm going to say that we're going to invoice actually for half up front, so £2,500. How many hours are involved with this stage of work? So let's call that 1 hour to talk through the brief, and any purchases required. So we don't really need any purchases at that stage. So stage 2, we're going to select, we're going to start designing that flyer. And we're going to start that on day 2. So I've month 1, day 2. Again, that's going to be me doing the work. No sales at that stage. So actually, I can just leave that blank. I'll give myself, let's say, 6 hours to do that bit of design. Any purchases, so we'll call that £150 for image rights I'm going to be using in that flyer. So I'll also describe that in this field, the purchase description. So call that images. And as you can see, we then just carry along all the way through. So I'm then going to send a draft to my client on day 8, so I've given myself a week to do all that design. I'll be doing that work again. No sales involved. Let's call that an hour to get the draft over to the client. No purchases. Now I need to add a stage because I'm not quite there yet. So I'll click this green icon here. There I've added stage 4. So I'm going to amend that flyer. So we'll start that on month 1, day 9. And again, I'll set myself as doing that work. I'll give myself 3 hours for that. No purchases necessary there. And then I'll add my final stage, which is deliver. So we'll deliver day 14. So overall, this project template is going to take me about 2 weeks to get through. So I'll just set myself again. We're going to have sales of 2,500. So I'm going to split half the cost at the start, half at the end. 1 hour for delivery and no purchases. So that's a simple A4 flyer design that my marketing company might do. So I'm going to save that. And that'll just give me a quick summary. So I can see the template name. It's all going to happen within 1 month. So you can see there, it says last status month, total sales, how many hours, and then any purchases as well. So I'll just click OK for that. So what we'll then do later on is specify when I plan on actually delivering that product. So when, in what months, and how many within each month as well. So you can see here what we'd end up with is a list of all of our products and services. You can see I've added an email campaign. And we can also see in here the cost of sales, the sales and margin associated with each product or service. Now the cost of sales takes into account any purchases that I've made in that template, as well as the hours involved as well. I'll show you later on how to edit the hourly rate for each member of staff, which you can do. So next what we're going to do is we're going to set up and tell the system how we're actually planning on getting that work, so how we get our new customers. So I'm going to set up what's called a relationship template. So I'm going to go into the potential customers funnel here. And you can see again, I've set one up already, but I'm going to create one from scratch. I'm going to add new. I'm going to change the plan type to a relationship plan. And I'm going to call this one, we're going to set up a telemarketing relationship template. And I'll describe that. I'll just call that telemarketing again. Doesn't need much more explanation than that. So what I will then do is go along a similar pattern. So for each stage, I'm going to specify who's going to do the work. So for example, the first thing we're going to do is call. So that starts on month 1, day 1, and I'm going to be doing that work again. So quantity, I'm going to specify that I'm going to call 100 people. So that's my starting quantity. What I'm then going to do is say success plan %. So this is the success rate of me moving to the next stage, or moving these contacts to the next stage. So my next stage is very likely to be a meeting. That's what I'm going to be trying to get in these calls. So I'm going to say we'll go with 10%. So 10% of 100. So I'm going to get 10 meetings out of this relationship plan. At this point, we're not going to have any sales, obviously, because they're not on board yet. Hours, we're going to, so put in some hours for that. So we'll say we'll put in maybe 30 hours for that. Any purchases, we shouldn't need any purchases, so I'll leave that. So the next stage is going to be meeting. And I'm going to try and arrange those for, let's say, a week afterwards. So they're going to start on day 7. Again, that's going to be me doing the work. And obviously, as you add more users to Business Duty, there's going to be more of your team available in this list. And you can split them into different teams and customize those teams as well. So at this meeting stage, I'm going to, again, specify the success rate of that stage. So after a meeting, I'm going to send them a quote. So I think after that meeting, let's say 50 of them request a quote. Sorry, 50% of them request a quote. Sales associated with that, again, we're not at that stage yet. How many hours? So for 10 meetings, let's say we'll account for 2 hours per meeting, and we'll put 20 hours in there. So at this stage, we might want to add some purchases. So we've got 10 meetings. Let's say it will cost us, say, £150 for that stage, and we'll call that travel. So that's going to be petrol. So stage 3, again, so I'm going to quote. We'll quote them the day after on day 8. It's me doing the work. Success rate, so the next stage is going to be the actual order. So I'm going to say I'm going to get 30% of these quotes to actually place an order. How many hours? So we're sending out 5 quotes, so we could, let's call that 2 hours. No purchases required. I'll then add the final stage using this icon here. And that one is going to be order. So we'll say day 15, so just over 2 weeks. We'll set myself again to do the work. Set that to just be 100 so we can just see these numbers above and below, and I'll explain those in a second. Any sales, so here, so we've got 1.5 customers coming out of this. Now, obviously, you'd round up or down. So we're saying that out of 100 calls, I'm going to get between 1 and 2 customers out of that. And if I say that each customer up here, the potential value is worth £1,000. So actually sales out of this down here, I'm going to get 1,500. And you can see that's actually calculated that automatically as well here. So that's my one of my relationship templates. So that's one of the ways that I'm going to get customers, and that's a telemarketing campaign. So I'm going to save that. And again, that will just give me a summary of all the information I've just put in. So it's telemarketing. I'm going to quantity in, so that's I'm going to call 100 people. The last status month, that's just telling me this will all be over within 1 month. The quantity out, so that's how many customers I'm going to get on board by the end of it. Any sales involved, as well as hours and purchases. I'm just going to click OK to save that. Okay, so now that we've got some example project and relationship templates, we're going to now actually add those to our business plan. So I'm going to click the business plan tab. So this page here, you can see it's split by relationships at the top here and projects. So you can see it's empty at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add to Business Plan on the right-hand side. I'm going to select the template that I want to be adding to my business plan. So let's add the A4 flyer design that I just set up. I'm going to select that in there. I'm going to click Load Template. So that's selected that template. And you can see there's a quick summary of the sales, purchases, hours, as well as my margin on that service or product. Now at this stage, if I wanted to make any amendments to this template, I can click this chevron here, modify the template, which will then just show me that again, and I can make any changes I want here, because at any point during this process, you might have different agreements with customers, so you might want to change how your templates are set up. So if I'm all okay with that, I'm going to now add it to my business plan. So I need to select the year, so I'm going to set it for this year, 2016. And I'm going to say that in May, I'm going to deliver one of these project templates. So I'm going to do, in May, I'm going to find one customer who wants a A4 flyer design, and I'm going to deliver that for them. I'm going to do one in July as well, and one in September. So if I click OK on that, that's going to show me a quick summary. So I can see for each work item that I've got to do, the cost of sales, sales and margin, as well as the total. So this is going to be the effect that this has on my business plan. So I'm going to click OK on that. And now if I open up the project section here, I can see that this line here has been added, A4 flyer design. I can see the number of work items. I can see the sales, cost of sales and margin. I can see that's quite an ambitious margin. But if I open that up by clicking this chevron here, I can then see those 3 individual templates that I added. What we can then do is, so we've set up this plan, so we've added lots of our products and services and populated this business plan as we'd like. Now, when we actually get a customer, what we can then do is allocate one of the templates to a specific client. Before I do that, though, I'm going to show you how to add a relationship plan. So we're going to add our relationship templates to our business plan as well. So I'm going to click, again, Add to Business Plan at the top here. I'm going to select the relationship template section, and I'm going to select the one that I just set up. So this is the telemarketing relationship template, and I'll click Load Template. Again, I'll specify when I plan on delivering this campaign. So let's say I'm going to do one in June and one in August as well. So I'll click OK on that. And again, that'll just show me the effect of my plan, so the cost of sales, sales, and margin. I'll click OK to add that to my plan, and I can open up the relationship section here, and I can see I've got a line for telemarketing. I can see my sales, cost of sales, and margin. And again, if I click this chevron, I can open that up and see the individual campaigns there. So now that we've got those all in the business plan, and the business plan looks how we'd like, we can then allocate individual lines to a client. So we've planned for this work. Now we've got a client who's saying, yes, please, I would like an A4 flyer. So I'm going to click Allocate here. Now you can see the start here. So I'm going to say that someone said they want one in May. One says that's 1605. So I'm going to click Allocate. So just show me my plan here, so I can make any changes, obviously depending on what the client has actually asked for, because obviously what your client's asked for might not always match what you've planned for, if ever. What we then do is, at the bottom here, we click Select Customer. And this then brings up a page where we can search for a contact. Now, if you watch my video on getting started, you can find that on our YouTube channel. That's where I show you how to upload a list of contacts. So in this system, I've already got a list of contacts set up. So if I click one of the letters up here, it will show me the contacts with whose last name begin with that letter, or I can just type their name in here. Now, if this is a new client, I can click Add New User, and that will just open up this page here where I can add all of their details and save them as a client, and then allocate this line of the plan to them. What I'm going to do is select one of my existing customers in the system. So I'm going to select Beverly Palmer, click Select, and now I'm going to specify when I'm actually going to deliver this work for this client. So I'm going to say that Beverly has actually asked for this work to be delivered in May, and I'm going to click OK. And again, it's going to show me the effect of what I'm about to do, so it will show me the cost of sales, sales, and margins. I'll click OK. So the plan's been applied. I can then either select to do more planning, or I can view the client plan. So I'll show you the client plans, because we now have a client plan for Beverly Palmer. You can see that here. And we can then see by client the cost of sales, sales, and margin. Okay, so what we can then do from a client plan, we can actually then say, so we've planned to do this work, and now actually we want to deliver this as a project. So I'm going to be doing a video soon on project management and how that works in the system. So if I click this here, Deliver, I can then specify when I want this new project to start, as well as the project name. Clicking Activate this project will actually stick it into people's sales funnel. And again, I'm going to be doing a video specifically on the sales funnel, so you can see how that works as well. You'll also be able to deliver a project straight from a plan template rather than going through the business plan. So if I go to plan templates, I can actually just on the fly, rather than having actually added it to my business plan, click Deliver and create a project here. So I can name the project, say when I'm going to do it. But if you watch my video later on about project management, we'll cover in more detail what then happens with those projects. So that's where I'm going to wrap up business planning. If you have any further questions, check out the website, which is www.businessgrowthtool.co.uk/learning support. And I'm also available via email at siobhan@businessgt.co.uk. So just shout if you have any questions.